First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this conference for inviting me to participate in such an important event and for giving me the opportunity to make a presentation on the theme of preserving the Circassian nation and resisting assimilation. The issue of survival and preservation of the nation is the concern not only of Circassian, but all the small nations. Many scientific articles have been written on this topic by Circassian intellectuals. Nevertheless, the question remains relevant. It worries us very much because we assimilate with other nations and disappear as a nation. The iceberg of Circassian nation slowly melts in the ocean of surrounding nations. Today, no one seriously talks about the mass return of Circassian and at the end of the last century. We talk more about the preservation of the Circassian nation, about how to find a balance between self-perception as a citizen of the countries in which we live and self-identification as Circassian. Ideally, these two internal self-perceptions should enrich each other and create a symbiosis of two cultures, languages, and traditions. Whether we like it or not, symbiosis occurs, and we can be identified as Turkish Circassian, Russian Circassian, Arabic Circassian, and so on. Unfortunately, in this symbiosis, Turkish, Russian, Arabic becomes more than Circassians. In the 21st century, in the context of globalization and internetization of the world, to preserve the Circassian nation, it is necessary to meet requirements of the modern world and use all available opportunities. Today, the internet has connected all of us, both adults and children. We live, work, and communicate in the virtual space in a fantastically high-speed mode. The information instantly reaches to the recipients. Business, cultural, and other Circassian groups are created in the messenger and on the websites. These are very effective tools of communication. It is necessary to create children games and internet schools in the Circassian language, as well as to expand the Circassian information space. Especially, we need 24 hours TV channel in Circassian language, which undoubtedly will help to preserve and learn the Circassian language. As you know, representatives of Turkish Circassian diaspora are negotiating with the Turkish government about the opening the Circassian TV, along with Turkish, Kurdish, and Arab channels. We hope that mutual understanding will be reached and the Circassian TV channel will be created. If not, modern technologies allow create a private Circassian TV channel broadcasting to the countries where Circassian live. It is a matter of money, professional, and technologies. One of important issues without which it will be difficult for us to survive in the 21st century is the question of restoration of our original Circassian surnames. As we know, Circassian in Turkey in 1934 were forced to change their Circassian surname intentionally to assimilate and make them Turks. But times have changed, and now there is no such prohibitions. Our children and grandchildren should not only know their original Circassian surnames, but these original Circassian surnames must be written in their passports. They should be proud of them, carry them like a Circassian flag, and pass them on to their next generations. The original Circassian surnames, as well as Adigala and Adigakabza, are powerful roots that hold the tree of ancient Circassian nation. If these roots will perish and disappear, the tree of our nation will collapse. Think about it, please. In my opinion, a special program for restoration of original Circassian surnames should be prepared as a part of national strategy for Circassian language, culture, and tradition. It is no accident that this conference is held under the motto, "What connects us?" We are connected by one history, one love for our nation and culture, and many other things. This is very important because there should be special staples that unite the Circassian people into one single organism. Do not allow it to be divided into pro-Western, pro-Eastern, divided on the other grounds. Jews have their own religion, Judaism, which kept them from disappearing. What do Circassians have? We have only our Adir Habza. Adir Habza is the soul of the Circassian nation. It is a special Circassian mentality, a special program of behavior and thinking, a set of emotional and cultural characteristics, value orientations and attitudes inherent only the Circassian nation. Adigala is the core of Adir Habza, which in a relatively unchanged form has existed for centuries. It is easy to be born Circassian, but it's very difficult to be Circassian. Being grown up in Adir Habza, even without knowing Adiga language, Circassian language, you will still remain Circassian. Circassian language can be learned if Circassian will have strong desire and motivation. But how to live in the modern world in the old traditional framework of Adir Habza? Very difficult. Therefore, it is necessary to pay special attention to Adir Habza, which must be recreated and adapted to the modern realities of life, published in printed in internet form, and translated to the main languages spoken by Circassians. Adir Habza should become an instrument of the biological survival strategy, aimed at ensuring of the separation of the Circassian genotype from the genotypes of the other nation. We can survive if the modern world, if Adigal becomes a national ideology. The best Circassian scientists from all over the world should be involved in the process of preparation of Adir Habza. I believe that a special program for the study and popularization of Adir Habza should be prepared as a part of national strategy for Circassian language, culture, and traditions. If there is something that connects us, there is something that separates us. The most terrible enemy of our nation on this historical stage is assimilation. Assimilation is a complicated and controversial process. Assimilation can go somewhere faster or slower, somewhere forcibly or voluntarily. But always, the final stage of assimilation is the loss of national roots and the loss of national memory. A nation that has lost its past and betrays its present has no future. Despite the action of Circassian organization, assimilation is active in every country, in every family where Circassian live. We consider it normal to talk to each other and our children in Turkish, Russian, Arabic, English, and other languages. We marry people of other nations and change our Circassian genotype. We feed the beast called assimilation with our culture, our tradition, our blood, and our national future. It is very difficult for Circassian families to resist assimilation in their own, because we and our children are immersed in another, non-Circassian environment all day long. What are the reasons of assimilation? The main reason, in my opinion, is the quantitative ratio of two or more nations located in one state. As a rule, the titular host nation has a quantitative superiority and is considered to be an assimilating environment for small nations. Circassian in any country of diaspora are always in the minority and, of course, under the Damocles sword of assimilation. The second reason is the mixed marriages. Children born in mixed families or in families that do not speak in Circassian language, do not live in the Circassian tradition, will not receive Circassian education. This generation will be born with the exit visa from the Circassian nation. How to resist to assimilation? I believe that the best resistance to grow in assimilation is Circassian education. Historical education plays a key role in the awakening of national consciousness. Circassian patriotism and social activity of the individual allows to preserve the millennial national roots, allows to strengthen historical memory and pass from generation to generation. Historical memory evokes a sense of pride for the heroic past of our people and creates a huge responsibility for its future, for the fate of the Circassian diaspora. Much has already been done and being done by Circassian classes and Circassian associations. There are several universities, dozens of schools in other republics that teach the Circassian language. The faculty of Circassian language successfully work in Düzce in Turkey. But this is, as you understand, it's not enough. We need hundreds of such faculties, schools and kindergartens. This requires huge financial resources. Yes, of course, Circassian public organizations are doing very much. They're doing a lot. But public activity itself is not able to solve the whole complex of problems. We need systemic solutions and a set of programs within the framework of the national strategy for Circassian language, culture and tradition. The dream of returning sufficiently large quantity of Circassian to Adygea when the quantity turns into quality did not come true and remained dream. There were times when Circassian diaspora had the opportunity to return to the motherland. The first times after the Russian Revolution in 1917 when Lenin allowed Circassian to return. And 80% of Circassian was ready to return. The head of Turkey ordered to resolve this issue with the Ministry of Information of Turkey, Hüseyin Tosun and Rauf Bey, both Circassians, who decided that the Circassians do not want to return. The second time, a favorable period for the mass return of Circassian was that when Russia in early 90s on the last century opened the door for Circassian and issued passport to all who wish in a light mode. Real estate was very cheap. Citizenship was given for several months. We opened at that time the fund called Shehab, in order to facilitate the return of Circassian to other republics. But unfortunately, the diaspora at that time was not ready for this. There were practically no Adiga willing to return, as there are none now. A unique chance was missed by Circassians. The gate to the motherland was quickly closed. But the world is changing, and sometimes very rapidly and suddenly. There may be new opportunities, and we need to be organized and financially ready for that. So, what is most needed for this readiness? For me, the answer is obvious. We vitally need an international Circassian financial fund to accumulate money and finance program of preservation and development of the Circassian language, culture, and tradition. In order to clearly understand what to do and in what direction to move, it is necessary to develop a national strategy for Circassian language and culture and traditions. When we are discussing the preservation of Circassian language, culture, and tradition, thinking about how to resist assimilation, we must understand that this is basically a question of a very large amount of money. No matter how much we talk about these topics on different platforms of communication, the result will not be achieved until the strategic programs of preservation of language, culture, and tradition will not have financial support. I hope today we will not only discuss the problems related to the survival of our nation, but we will draw certain conclusions and we will make concrete decisions. For my part, I propose to elect an initiative group from the participants of this conference, which will be able to formulate conceptual proposals and launch the process of creating a national financial fund and a national strategy with the approval and support of all Circassian organizations. In conclusion, I would like to express the hope that 21st century will be gold age of the Circassian nation, the century of the revival of Circassian culture and tradition at a new civilization level. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much indeed for your excellent presentation underlying many practical aspects. Are there any questions? I can take two questions. Two questions, please. Please, Arthur? Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. It was very good. I want to say only that this international fund is since 4 years there, that high CRO. This international fund want only to organize the Circassian community in diaspora. We must organize our activities. That's what we need. Now the international fund is in our hands, and the CRO had many projects in our homeland financied, supported. Yet now we have 15 small businesses in our homeland to the returns. That's why we need to discuss this later, but I want to say this international fund, it's in our hand. Thank you.
I don't understand. I mentioned about creation of international financial fund. You are talking about repatriation organization.
Yeah, the name is Circassian Repatriation.
Some doesn't misunderstand. I don't understand the question.
I want to say Circassian Repatriation Organization, it's originally a fund that we monthly $2. When the Circassian $2 paying, then that's mean we have yet a function. We have a fund. That's the idea. But the name is quite different because we want to save our repatriation right. That's why.
When I understand. This is you are talking about. Yes, this is a very old idea. But as I mentioned, we need some national strategy. Inside of this national strategy, we should prepare some programs, different programs. As I said, for example, for our Adiga language program, special program which need a lot of money, $1 million only for this program. For the other programs, also, how to say, if you have some vehicle, if you will not put inside of you, of course, this vehicle will not move. We are saying yesterday and today we are saying we need this, we need that. Yes, it's very right, it's correct. But
Excuse
I
me,
understand.
excuse me, I should stop and we cannot take another question. Thank you very much indeed. We are very short of time. Now, let's